My wife has asked me for a cookbook stand. She likes to cook, and she does a damn good job at it. So since I like to eat, I'm more than happy to make a stand for her cookbook when she's cooking. And I'm going to use a board just like this, and it's going to be a single board stand. It's going to be similar to what I have here, and what this is it's a single piece of wood cut in such a way that it folds out. Now the stand I'm going to make is not going to be exactly like this, obviously. First of all, this is too narrow. It's not going to be useful in that sense. And also I'm going to cut off one of the wings here so that way it will hold the cookbook sitting like this, okay? And through the magic of TV, I've already got one laid out. So what we have here is I've laid out the markings of what we're going to do. We're going to cut out this section here where the X's are, and we're going to do it alternating, okay? And then we're going to also use a scroll saw, and we're going to cut these lines here. And on the opposite side, we're going to do the same cutouts, just like this, right? And then what you will have is you'll have something like this, right? So the angle is from the center to the outside in all cases, and then you'll have this. But finally, what you'll do is you will cut down the center of the whole thing, excepting the centerpiece, and you'll cut from the center on the bottom half, and as a result, you'll have a folding cookbook stand. And what's nice about it is that when it's not being used, it's not using that much space. It won't use any more space than this board uses on the table right here. One thing I want to do is I'm going to exit my comfort zone, and I am going to do a Celtic knot, and I'm going to do some carving on it so that we have a nice design at the top of the stand. There is a reason why I don't do that much scroll saw work, and part of it is that my eyesight is bad enough that I have a hard time really seeing where the blade is cutting as I'm cutting. And another reason is I really hate trying to feed the blade in to these holes. The holes have to be small enough, and this cutout is going to be good. But the holes have to be small enough to accommodate the size of shape you're going to cut out, but big enough that it makes it easy to get the blade in the hole. Like I said, I really don't do that much scroll saw work anymore. But one of the things I did discover with scroll sawing with a power scroll saw is as you're turning the wood, you have a tendency, you're making a turn in the cut, you have a tendency to push on the side, depending on which way you're turning. And so what I have learned to do over the years is every so often just basically release the wood just to let it find its center again, and that way you're not pushing. Because when you push like this, what's happening is the top is following your line, but the bottom is now cutting no longer 90 degrees. So it kind of ruins your cut. So that's what I do. Alrighty, got all the cutouts made, and I probably could have done this after I cut the slice, but now the next step is I'm going to go to the bandsaw and I'm going to cut the two halves off. Cut down this line here. Now, this is one of the things I hate about projects like this. This is a rather complex project, and each step there's a point of a place where you can fail, mess things up, and as you get down the project, those places, if I fail at this next step, then I ruin a lot more than just 5 minutes worth of work. Now, it kind of stinks, but that's just the way things are sometimes. So cross your fingers and wish me luck. So if you did it right, you got this as your result. So it didn't come out quite down the middle. I'm not very happy about that, but that's okay because I'm going to be cutting this wing short regardless, because it doesn't need to be full length. And now what I want to do is, since this is supposed to be a Celtic knot, I'm going to try to make it a little 3D. So using this, which is a second copy of my original pattern, I'm going to start risking ruining the whole thing. Let's see how this works out. Woohoo! Well, I'm not all that terribly pleased with the result of this particular project. It's not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible. I made several mistakes. First of all, I should not have used pine. Pine doesn't carve very nicely and easily, and I made mistakes there. Also, I messed up on the joint a little bit. It's a little looser than it really should have been. It should be more like this, but I made it too wide. When you cut the joint, it should be the width of the joint should be the width of the board, and I didn't do that. The carving itself didn't come out as nice as I intended, but in my defense, this was my very first attempt at this type of thing. Next time, I'm sure I will do better. It just, I don't know. I'm not very pleased with this. I don't know if I'm even going to present this to my wife or not. But they can't all be successes. And the next time I do this, hopefully it'll look better. I am going to try it again. And This time I'm not going to use pine. I think a big piece of a setup for failure was using pine. I did a little research, and apparently poplar is a good carving wood. So I got this hunk of poplar. I got it to milled down to the shape and size that I want it. And I'm going to mark it up now, and I'll show you what it looks like marked up. But I'm going to do this slightly different. Whereas I designed this one to be like this, where the book would sit here open. I'm going to design this new one so the book's going to sit like this, and both wings are going to be in full. Since this one is much larger than the previous attempt, I am not going to scroll saw. I think I'm going to try carving. Okay, well, I think it's all right. It's not perfect, but it is better. It now opens. I have sanded the inside. It looks really nice. One thing I did learn is that when doing this joint here, when doing this joint, you're going to have to do some calculations to figure out how wide it was. I had said earlier that this joint should not be any wider than the thickness of the board. Well, that's 45 degree angle. But the issue is that you if you're going to do something like I'm doing here as a book holder and not a magazine rack, then you want that wider. So in all reality, this angle being 45 is kind of wrong. It really should be all the way from here to here, which might be like 30 degrees instead of 45. So this is a lesson to be learned for the future if I ever do this again. I have created a second video for the carving of the Celtic knot, and it will go into detail on how my journey through carving that Celtic knot. I have a link or a card on this page so you can see it, and it will be linked to in the description of the video also. All right, this is completed, and I think it looks rather nice. It is not perfect, but what in life ever is.
Oh, looks very nice. What's on the other side? Oh, this is the other side. Nice. Let's try a cookbook. Very nice. Now I need something to hold the pages open.
All right. Good. Finally, after every woodworking project, you should always count your fingers. You end with 10. Good job.